Title.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. This is our third year of doing this. It's our college football preview show. It is me, Scott Steen, alongside of.
Scott Reichel.
There you
Uh,
go.
yeah,
I didn't do titles. I threw you. I
I was
didn't
going to
tell.
say you didn't do titles. I don't even know what to
Yeah,
call
no.
this. I'm the co-host of the
Sure.
college football preview show.
Let's go that way. Let's go that way. So this is it's going to be a little different format because I've got some time constraints that I really don't have time to break down the top 25. So we're not doing the top 25 like we have in the years past. Did we do top 25 first year, or do we just do 3 and 3?
We did 3 and 3. Then second year we did 25 and the 3 picks at the end.
Right.
Now we're going back to the original format. We're going to skip the ranked matchups and we're only going to talk about our picks.
Yeah, Jesus, what got into us that last year, man?
Us.
A
I'm not. I wasn't in charge of setting anything up for the show.
couple of overachievers there is all I'm telling
Yeah.
you. So last year was the year of Presbyterian. So hopefully, Scott, a few games in, maybe we can find a new Presbyterian. We'll
I
see how
doubt it, but
we'll
I'm
see how
rooting
it
for
goes.
both of us.
Hey, I got one game I want to ask you about since we said we're going to do this very solid, strict format. I'm going to just deviate from it right off the bat. Yeah, who you got tonight in the Tennessee Tech KU game? You lay in 32.5 with KU. I
I
guess
am
it's
not.
down to 30 and change now, isn't it?
Yeah, I am not laying 32 and change. From what we've seen so far, the teams getting a lot of points have all lost outright, but a lot of them have covered. Unfortunately, New Mexico State killed me yesterday. Plus 36.5. They give up 38 points. They don't cover,
How
which
does
is a
how
disaster. But
how did Central Michigan cover? I got to be honest with you. I had the over as my best bet of the day. It hit by halftime. I
yeah,
turned that game off and watched the Mizzou and the Pitt West Virginia game. So how did Central Florida? They were down.
you mean Michigan, but
I
still,
mean Central Michigan. Sorry,
yeah.
not Central Florida. That would make more sense. Yeah, how did Central Michigan get 44 points on that team?
Just seemed like Oklahoma State was up by a bunch of points and took its foot off the gas. And Central Michigan said, "Well, we're going to score a bunch of touchdowns. We're going to go for 2 every time. So let's
Well,
have some fun."
there's taking your foot off the gas, and then there's opening the door and just rolling out.
Yeah,
That's
I mean they still won by double digits. It
I
wasn't like
know.
they were ever in doubt of losing, but
No, I had a guy in my comment section that had that as his best bet. I'm like, oh God, what a heartbreaker.
yeah,
But that was brutal. So, all right, well, let's get rolling. As it is, we keep with our rules. You did win last year. I won the year before. You had a nice. You said you just found your record from last year. What was it?
I did. It's the perks of
26,
Google
15?
Docs. So looking through my record on Google Docs, I did not touch it. 26, 15, and 1
Yeah,
for plus 7.88 units.
nothing wrong with that at all. I know that I made a profit, but I know I was behind you. I'll have to. And because when I asked you and I said, "Oh, what was my record?" What did you say?
I have no idea.
Okay,
I didn't care.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, Scott. So I said all that to say this, as is our tradition, losers walk, and that would be me. So I'm going to start off, Scott, showing you what a good, true American I am. I'm going to back the Army. The Army. It's the Black Knights getting. Actually, I'm not going to take the points. I'm going to take them on the money line at plus 110, going up against Coastal Carolina. Yes, Coastal Carolina still has one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. Came back for another season, but this Chanticleer's defense could be a problem. They lost 9 starters. They also lost a trio of fantastic receivers. Of course, Isaiah Likely, their tight ends in the NFL, and Hiley and Brown, 2 very good wide receivers, will not be returning. That's 161 receptions, 2,645 yards, and 24 touchdowns that will no longer be available to Grayson McCall. I think Army is a team that we talk about a lot. They're an unusual style. They're going to run the ball. They play decent defense. They do a good job against the run. I like the Army Black Knights plus 110.
They were almost on my list. So we didn't overlap on the first pick, which is good. But I also was considering Army. I do think it'll be close, but Coastal missing that many guys from last year's defense and now facing off against a triple option attack, it's not a great matchup for week 1.
That was
So,
my thought exactly, sir.
yeah. So going through mine, no particular order, I'm going to go to a matchup between North Carolina and Appalachian State. A lot of money coming in on the side as App State went from basically an underdog by a decent amount to a 1.5 point favorite.
I'm going to move on.
However, wait, what?
There's a ton of movement on that game.
Ton of movement, but I'm going to actually look at the total in this one.
Okay.
I like the over. 56 at minus 110 on DraftKings. North Carolina played very well offensively last week. You had May, the new quarterback, 5 passing touchdowns, 294 yards. The issue was North Carolina allowed 14 points in the first half and 24 points overall to a Florida A&M team that was missing about half of its team because of academic issues. So Florida A&M was extremely shorthanded, and North Carolina's defense really did not look good at all. App State has a very good offense with Bryce back at quarterback. They have Noel and Peoples at running back. 4 starting offensive linemen also return. And App State defensively did lose a lot of big pieces. App State lost 5 of its leading 6 tacklers last season. But I like Bryce from what I saw last year. I like May from what I've seen in a very limited sample size. Both teams defensively might take a little while to get going. I do think as a result, one, if not both these teams should get into the 30s. So I will go with the over 56 in this matchup.
All right, very good. I got you down over 56 in that one. I'm going to go west, young man, for my second pick as we show how the line between the Power Five conferences and the mid majors continues to be blurred. I'm going to take the San Diego State Aztecs -6 over the Arizona Wildcats. This is an Aztecs team that we talked about a lot last season, how good their defense is. They like to run the ball. They're pretty much 3 yards in a cloud of defense is pretty much the Aztecs theory. But they are going to throw the ball a little bit more this year because they do have transfer from Virginia Tech Braxton Burmeister. So the offense becomes a little less one dimensional. The defense stays largely intact. They return 8 of 11 starters from a defense that was 14th in the nation in points allowed and 6th in rushing yards given up. This game ended 38-14 last year in a Tucson, but I think at the end of the day, by the way, that was a victory for the Aztecs. I think this one probably won't be 38-14, but I do think the Aztecs can cover that number. Arizona is a truly, truly terrible football program. I don't think that has changed too much. Aztecs opening their brand new stadium. What's it called, Scott?
I have no Aztec Arena?
Snapdragon Stadium, buddy.
Aztec Arena has a nice ring to it, so they missed
It,
out on an opportunity there.
it
But
really does. But they've been playing kind of in limbo for the last couple of seasons. They move into their new home. This is the first game. A lot of things going right for this one. I've got the San Diego State Aztecs -6.
are you surprised at all there's been that much line movement on Arizona? Because I can understand maybe initially, but it's crossed over some key numbers. I agree with you. I like San Diego State at the current number. Does it surprise you how much this line's actually moved?
You know, in a way, it does. It's now kind of snapping back. It's 6.5 is what I'm looking at now for San Diego State. So that is, I wrote this up a little earlier. I'll make that official as 6.5. That is the current
But where
number.
did it open at? It opened up at like 11, I think, 10.
Yeah, it was double digits for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I think I don't think that's an efficient number. I think at 10 or 11, I don't think this is a play for me. But less than a touchdown, it's a play all day. I think the reason the number's coming down, I think you get a lot of casual bettors that see, major college, major conference against a group of 5 school, and I think
And you
that's
see a low total, and you just think, all right, I'm taking the dog getting double digits
right.
automatically. But to go through my second pick, I am going to go to an underdog, and it's a matchup involving an FCS team and an FBS team. And I'm going to take South Dakota State plus 17 at minus 125 on Fox Bet at Iowa. Now, South Dakota State is an FCS school, but they are one of the best FCS schools in the country. They won 11 games last year and made the semifinals of the FCS tournament, despite having a backup quarterback for the entire season. Now their starting quarterback's back in Gronowski, did win the Conference Player of the Year award the year prior. So I do think that him being back is big. South Dakota State has a lot of experience, a lot of talent, both at the receiving core. The tight ends are good. The running backs are really good. They have a solid offensive line. Their defense is experienced as well. Iowa's secondary is a little bit shaky. Did lose 3 starters in the secondary. And it's also worth mentioning that Iowa decided after getting killed in the Big Ten title game because of offensive ineptitude, their big plan was to bring back Petras. Congratulations. You have the same exact offense as last year. That's a bold move. Let's see how it works out for him. Jackrabbits also have been really good against the number in September and against out-of-conference opponents. But South Dakota State is 4-0 ATS in its last 4 games in September. I'm not picking them to win the game. I think they could. I think this team's actually solid. But the
Right.
idea that Iowa's going to win this game by 3 possessions with an offense that has a parade anytime it scores north of 30, I think is a little bit absurd. I'm going to go with the points here. I think it's a few too many. Give me Iowa by 10.
Okay. Would you say the number was 17?
It was 17 flat at minus 125.
All right. Very good.
Do you have any thoughts on that one? Because I know that South Dakota State's been the kind of forgotten FCS beast because everyone talks about North Dakota State the entire time.
Right. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that whole of all those Dakota schools. Basically, they all even South Dakota is a decent school. I saw them play K-State a few years ago and gave them all they wanted. Might have even
That
beat
was
them.
last year.
I thought they played them 2 years in a row. Maybe it was last year.
It was last year.
Was that last year? Did they beat them?
Kansas won at the end on like a last-minute touchdown, but they kept
Kansas
it
State.
close.
Kansas State.
Oh, Kansas State. Sorry, they barely lost to Kansas last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that regular South Dakota? Either way, point is, yeah.
There's some good schools up there.
I just think 17's too many when I don't trust Iowa's offense.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's gonna be a grind. And you talk about a low scoring game. That's gonna be a low scoring game right there.
And
So
South Dakota State can actually throw.
uh-huh. If their offensive line can hold up, that's usually where you see the biggest deficiencies.
Yeah.
From the second tier schools. So if the offensive line can give him time to throw, I think they'll be okay. Speaking of laying 3 possessions, that's exactly what I'm going to do here, Scott. I'm going to take the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers minus the 16 as they travel to the Big Island to play the Hawaii Fighting Rainbows or whatever the fuck they are.
Rainbow Warriors. They're not doing
Rainbow.
much. They better not have fighting in the name because after
Really.
week 1, week 0, they didn't put up much of a fight.
I am not convinced that Vandy's going to win the SEC. Okay, that's what I'm saying to you. And they absolutely beat the brakes off of that Hawaii team last week. I was lucky enough to be on the right side of it.
63 points.
Yeah, 63 to 10, 62 to 10, whatever the hell it was.
63 to 10. 63 to Vandy.
That's brutal. Well, they gave up 400 yards on the road to Vandy. Now Western Kentucky, of course, was known as a passing team behind Bailey Zappi, but they played Austin Peay last week, and they had a pretty good mix: 34 passes, 32 rushes. Now they just ran for about 110, so they didn't do a ton on the ground. But this is a Hawaii team. I believe they gave up almost 10 yards per carry to Vandy last week, so I think they're going to be able to have success on the ground. I don't know what I could say good about this Hawaii team. They may be.
The weather's nice.
The weather's beautiful, great scenery. Every time you're there, you get laid. But I can't. I'm gonna fade this team until further notice, until they show me anything. They suck on offense, but at least the defense is terrible. Give me Western Kentucky minus 16.
Also, Hawaii finished with 10 points. They scored a touchdown on the opening drive.
Mm-hmm.
So they got outscored, or they only scored 3 points in roughly the final 55 minutes of the game.
Yep. Outscored 63 to 3 for the final 55 minutes. So.
That was also one of my runner-ups that I ended up not picking. Instead, I decided to put together a bet that I like, but also is a bit of a troll bet to get on your nerves.
Oh, beautiful. I love those.
I got a first quarter play. Really going back just to
already
make a joke. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. It's going to be in a matchup between Texas State and Nevada. Another game with a huge line move. I believe this line moved roughly 10 or 11 points, and Texas State's actually favored. However, I'm going to take the first quarter under 12.5 points at minus 125 on DraftKings. It's mostly a weather play. The wind will be blowing at roughly 16 miles per hour for the start of the game, and it's not horizontal. It's going vertical. So one team's going in the wind to their back.
What?
Other team's going against the wind.
Whoa. You're saying the wind is vertical?
I'm saying that based on where the field is located.
No.
What?
No, vertical is up and down.
I'm saying from the field angle. it's going directly
No matter
against
which
one
way you
team.
spin the field, up is still up.
I'm saying it's going against one team going in one way, and it's backing the team going in the other direction. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's not a crosswind.
It's not a crosswind. There we go.
Blowing into
Yeah,
end.
horizontal, vertical. It's not a crosswind. Okay, whatever the hell you want. It's a cross. It's a vertical. It's a whatever.
So
Point is,
if we stood the stadium on its end, it's not a it's a horizontal. It's a vertical. It's not horizontal.
it's not perpendicular. Okay, like it's going whatever. The point is, one side of the field is basically going to be impossible to throw the ball, and even the other side, you might overthrow everyone by 20 yards. So the
Okay.
wind's going to be an issue. Now to actually mention the Nevada performance from last week, I watched New Mexico State against Minnesota. That's one of the worst tackling teams I've ever seen. Nevada couldn't do anything offensively for the majority of the game. They scored 23 points against one of the worst defenses in the country. They also have two quarterbacks. I mentioned the wind. They also can't throw. They have Cox and Illingworth at quarterback, combined 14 for 23 for 78 passing yards against New Mexico State.
That was good. That was the question. That was the question I was going to ask you. What the fuck does it matter what the way the wind's blowing in this game?
Well, it mattered because of Texas State's offense. That was the reason why. But
right.
Texas State did pick up Hatcher, who was the former Arkansas State quarterback. He can throw. Their offensive line's not great, though. They want to run the ball as well. But you're going to give me a first quarter. I like the full game under as well. But with the wind being a factor, with Texas State really having a completely decimated offensive line and having a quarterback that's very pass happy in an environment that shouldn't really promote many successful downfield passes. And Nevada was an absolute joke offensively last week.
There are a lot of drop passes too, but a lot of terrible passes.
Just saying, expecting 2 touchdowns in the first quarter of this game does seem like a lot. I expect to see a lot of running clock. I think both teams will game plan according to the weather. Give me the first quarter under 12.5.
Just for the record, whenever we do a show, I always root for your plays too because it makes the show look good. And
you hope the first quarter play loses just because I'm calling
100%. I hope they put up 17 points in the fucking first quarter. So
it's a good thing to know that some things don't change. You know,
he was totally snoozing and saw a dog walk by.
It happens. I thought it was the mailman.
I don't know how he hears it. All right, so I did want to say one thing before we recap our plays here. We are not doing a bet the farm play, at least on this show. We are going to leave it in the audience's hands.
Comment section down below.
Yes, let us know in the comments. Please take a moment, even if you don't normally comment on anything. We want to know if you want to see a farm, if you don't want to see a farm. Scott is anti-farm. I am pro-farm. I am pro-pharma.
I'm anti-farm on this show because I feel like it became a part of the daily show that we did, and I feel like we're just borrowing it, and I don't know. It's against the integrity of the farm.
Okay, it's the so Scott's theory is that is a bit that belongs to Back to the Window,
or at least any daily show that we do together.
Okay, all right,
not a once a week show that we have.
And my theory is it's a crowd pleaser, and we're together. So we should be doing a farm. Plus, then I would have not bought this fucking hat for nothing.
Yeah, that's true too.
Let us know if you want to see a farm. And to recap the plays, Scott is in midseason form, taking a first fucking quarter play.
I did it also as a half dig to you, just because
I know
that's how I started last year off with quarter plays. So.
I expected you to say I like the full game under 2, but that wouldn't have pissed you off. So here's the first.
That's
quarter.
fair too. But
and I'm only thinking of the crowd. I'm only thinking of the audience. Not everybody has access to quarter plays. So I try to make the plays as accessible.
I also like first half and full game under. I picked first quarter also because stylistically or just I'd say just common sense would suggest that both teams might need a quarter or so to adjust to the wind conditions.
Yeah, that's fair. Although 13 isn't a ton, but this Nevada team, dude, they're terrible. The only thing I worry about is how terrible their defense was as well. So I think that's probably a pretty good play, but we'll see.
I'm just hoping you have a couple of long drives. That's it.
That's it. All right. So to recap my plays, starting off the day, I've got the Army Black Knights plus 110 against the rebuilt Coastal Carolina defense. I also have San Diego State laying 6 and a hook at home in their new Snapdragon Stadium against Arizona. And we're going to finish it up with a little nightcap, a little double up to catch up game. Scott, that's the late night game there from the islands. I've got Western Kentucky minus 16 over the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Scott, what do you got?
So the first play was North Carolina and App State over 56 at minus 110 on DraftKings. Second play was South Dakota State, a different SDST, plus 17 at minus 125 on Fox Bet at Iowa. And my last play, just to piss Steen off, was Texas State and Nevada, first quarter under 12.5 at minus 125 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I did hate that you do that because I had SDSU right above it, and then I
Yep.
had to fucking spell out South Dakota State. So
Yep.
not happy. All right, that's it. That's the college football show. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Let us know what you guys are playing. I know there's something we've missed. Let us know what you're on. Scott, real quick. Ohio State minus 17, yes or no?
Kind of take the over instead.
Sure, go ahead.
I'll take the over.
What's the number?
I don't even know.
Okay, fine.
Let me pull that up. It's pretty tricky to follow all the line moves. There's been so many line moves in every game, which isn't that surprising, of course, because everyone is just waiting to bet on college football. But there's so many games going on that I have to actually just get an up-to-date number here. So the total went from 58 to 59.5. Little juice to the under. I like the over. I think Ohio State could score 42 here. It wouldn't surprise me. Give me a 42-20 game.
I'm not sure Ohio State scoring 42 is going to get you there. That's my worry.
I've seen Ohio State's defense be overrated for a long time.
I don't think anybody's overrating them. I think they're hoping they get better because they were.
That's the point. So everyone's saying, well, Notre Dame's offense might not be that great. That's fine because I don't think Ohio State's defense is that good either. So they'll cancel each other out.
It's definitely strength versus strength and weakness versus weakness in this game.
Yeah.
And Oregon plus 17 at Georgia.
Georgia's missing so many pieces from that team from last year. Give me Oregon first half.
Okay. All right. Way to avoid answering both questions. Excellent.
I said I was going to make it difficult for you.
I know. Well done.
I literally, the first quarter play was the appetizer to me just annoying you for the next couple of months. I only see you once a week now for this.
I know.
So I have to cram up a full week of annoying you for an hour a day into a 20-minute show. It's difficult. It's a lot of work that I have to put in.
For the record, I'm laying with Ohio State. I'm taking with Oregon. Lay the 17, take the 17. That's where I'm at. I like that Dan Lanning was the DC of Georgia last year. So I'm kind of basing it all on that. He'll know a couple tricks to get past that defense. We'll see. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining us as always. We appreciate it. We're going to be doing it every week. We'll put it up Friday afternoon. We appreciate you guys' input, kind of demanding that we did the show again, and we were able to take those positive comments, take them to management, and say, you know what, we ought to be doing a college football show. So there we are. We'll do it. Scott, we'll see you next week. By the way, don't forget next Thursday. I can't believe it. This coming Thursday is going to be the
NFL.
It's going to be the NFL, but it's also going to be the premiere of the little show that I've been working on for all of you that have been anxious to see what I've been doing over the last month or so. You can tune in to our YouTube channel on Thursday and catch Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the world's greatest sports betting show. How about that for an easy title?
I'm trying to say it 5 times fast in my head.
Don't even do it. All right, you guys take care. Good luck. It's week 1. Let's go out there and make some money. A lot of line inefficiencies. Go find them. You guys take care. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.